Hello and welcome to the regular Tuesday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID. Tonight I've got an excellent panel for you, and we'll be discussing the game against Bournemouth. We'll be discussing our transfer window in the summer, what are our priorities, what we should be doing, and we'll be doing a preview of Alkmaar this coming Thursday. So to start with, I'm going to introduce our guests. We've got a debutant in James. How are you, James?
Yeah, I'm grand. Thanks for having me on. Been a little while in the making, as it were, but nice to be on. Haven't been a podcast in a while, actually, so nice to get back on it.
And Brad, a regular friend of the show, been on many times.
Yep. Hello, everybody. Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's a bit cold, actually. I work in the office on Tuesday, so I had to switch the heating on when I got in. And after wearing a light jacket on Sunday and regretting not bringing my sunglasses, we've suddenly gone back to normal winter weather.
And Kev, another friend of our show, and his son Tom, who's an admin on it in a fantastic group. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks, Adrian. Evening, everyone. Good to be here again.
And Blaine, how are you, mate, from Northern Ireland?
All good. Safe travels back from Holland last week, but thankfully I wasn't in Alkmaar, so that was a blessing in disguise.
Before we get into Bournemouth, and I know it's a Tuesday, and I know that Liverpool playing football, and sometimes, so we're grateful for all of you coming in and viewing us. There's 14 of you, which is good actually, because the football's on. Normally we get most people on playback watching us. I'm going to start by announcing this because every time we beat the Gooners, I'm putting this up. Spurs under 18s beat Arsenal 6-4 away. I did post a video everywhere for you guys to see it. I hope you all watched it. Right. So, and there is a video of this for those of you viewers that are viewing us now. Right. Post-match Spurs Bournemouth at home 2-2. Team. James, what was your take on the team when you saw it?
Kind of pretty default, I guess. It doesn't help that we played Alkmaar 3 days before. Romero coming in is interesting. I think he had a bit of a questionable game. Spence on the right. I actually think Spence is better. Oh no, sorry, he's on the left, isn't he? Yeah, pretty much standard. I did think there is not very much creativity in that midfield. Bentancur and Basuma, I think, is just way too defensive as a pairing, especially when you don't have a Maddison or Kulu playing there. But it doesn't help Kulu's out. Yeah.
Brad, your take on the lineup? You was at the game with me, weren't you?
Yeah, it is pretty much what you expected, and the fact that you could see that we've got an eye on Alkmaar in the second leg. It didn't work out that way because in the end we had to bring on the players anyway. But yeah, I think the team. I expected Solanke to play because he hasn't had much game time, and Odegaard as well. Obviously we knew that Romero and Van der Ven were sort of fit and ready to go. So you expect to see one of those, or even two of them. Well, I guess you could say we did see two of them because they sort of replaced each other in the second half. But yeah, pretty much the team I expected.
Yeah, the conservative lineup, wasn't it? And said he always goes strongest. I wasn't having any of it myself. But what did you think? Conservative?
Yeah, well, I seeing the midfield, I immediately was on a downer because that midfield hasn't worked for us all season, really, when it's been those three together. And, me and Tom were definitely, that's not a good midfield, really. But the back four, you almost expected. And I think, strangely, Spence works better on the left than he does on the right, I think, at the moment. He's right-footed. It did worry me we had no left-footers again at the back. Until the changes in the second half, of course, but yeah, it was always going to be something like that with AZ or RZ, as they say on the telly.
Blaine, did you expect this team, or did you have a different lineup in your own mind?
No, pretty much exactly what I expected. The only omission, I guess, I might have seen was Odegaard out, and I'm surprised he maybe didn't start Tell. In fact, I was surprised that Tell didn't get any minutes at all, especially with Solanke being back. It would have been good to see them two playing off each other. But look, for me, it's such a flat midfield. There's no creativity. There's no surge in pace or power, apart from maybe Sarr. But that was the biggest cause of our problem. I'm sure you're going to get on to Adrian.
Yeah, I expected that midfield, to be honest. I thought Ange would go conservative, and he did. Front three, that was always more guessable. Back four picked. Romero has to play, but he was rusty. But we'll talk about that later. Yeah, all our players are back. I mean, they've got to come back and hit the ground running, is what you're expecting. So nothing's really changed at the moment, even though players are back. Right, subs, Brad. Strong bench.
Well, yeah, it was. But again, it's looking at the game with. I'm looking at a Sun headline if we get knocked out. The Wizards of Az on Thursday.
Yeah.
Song
coming.
Udogie, VDV, if he's fit, ready to go. Son, Madison, Bergvall, definitely Gray. That is a bench that is really for Thursday, I would say. Or we'll be playing Thursday rather than being on the bench.
Blaine. Go on, Blaine. Good bench.
Good bench, but one glaring omission, which is a topic I'd like to maybe pick up with you later on.
Yeah.
Where is Mikey Moore?
Yeah. Well, I think. Well, on that, I think you'll definitely see him Thursday, simply because in Premier League games you're allowed 9 substitutes, but in Europa League games you're allowed 12. Kev, your take on the bench?
Yeah, I mean, as it was said, I think he had an eye to Thursday and people needing time and things like that, and needing a bit of rest here and there. But I saw somewhere someone was saying Moore was injured, and that's why he wasn't involved at all. But nothing sort of come out of the cupboard, was there, on that? So.
I don't know if he got, I don't know if he got any game time with the under-21s. I don't know if they played or what.
No, he wasn't.
The other week they lost. They lost when I watched.
He wasn't in the squad. I'm sure he was on the bench against Alkmaar on the Thursday, so things happened.
James, do you think he deliberately didn't play VDV and Romero together, just kept them apart just in case?
Yeah, I think maybe part of it's just like managing their minutes, especially if he wants to start at least one of them Thursday. Give them 45 minutes each, get minutes in their legs, and then get them going before the bigger test. Because I think, in a weird way, I think Ange has sort of got to, I'd say a large part of our fan base as well, we're in a position in the league where realistically we're going to finish where we are, more or less, unless we have like a ridiculous miracle run. And the European games are much more important. So I think it's just a case of rest them, don't get them, overplayed, as it were, so they can play hopefully a full 90 on Thursday or longer if needed.
Okay, moving on to the game. Kev, what the hell was... How comes we start these games in a minute like this? 1 minute, Romero crossfield cut out by Evan Nielsen. Vicario saves, tips the ball around the post. It was a good save as well.
It was a great save. Great save. But we did it from both kickoffs. All the kickoffs we had, basically, from... terrible. We didn't actually get out of our own half for 5 minutes at the start of the game, and then we had kickoff. Straight away. It was. I'm sitting in the south stands. We're kicking the wrong way in the first half anyway, so we must have lost the toss. One presumes. And we're just sitting there, unbelieving, with heads in hands. What the hell is going on? And Romero, rusty. Seized up, I think. Not rusty. He was. That was bad, and he didn't get too much better, I don't think, throughout the half either. But yeah, it was a god awful start, really.
And Brad, 3 minutes later.
For Vicario.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing was that they had 2 really good chances in the first sort of 4 minutes, and we'd have got the assist for both chances. So. Yeah, it was just bizarre. It was. It's just Tottenham all over, isn't it? Really, this season, you sort of, and the crowd was sort of almost like, oh yeah, that's how we are. That's who we are, sort of thing. And I sort of got the impression that, I went. Look, I'll be there on Thursday night, and I'll be, really, really supporting the team, really wanted to get through. But I went to this game with a sort of, oh well, we're not going to get relegated. We're not getting much higher in the league. It's just a game. I couldn't get excited by it.
No.
And I think the players seem to play the same way. And then the problem is, once you have one error, the crowd get on top of them. And I just think at the moment we're playing with not a lot of confidence. There seems to be quite a few scared players out there. And as soon as you make that mistake, then it's going to happen again because they're going to start becoming nervous. But yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good. But Vicario, I mean, it just certainly shows how much we missed him. No matter how good the replacements have played for him, he's certainly our number one goalkeeper.
All right, I'll move on a bit. 10 minutes, Basuma shot by Bahusin. He looks a good defender. He's only he's about 19, isn't he? His kid. He's good though.
Is that the tall, lanky lad?
Yeah. I think there'll be a few in for him in the summer. I think Bournemouth are going to get their squad stripped, but I think they don't mind selling. 23 minutes, Porro crosses Solanke, he's saved. 30 minutes, Bentancur booked for a late challenge.
I was going to have a bet on Bentancur being booked and I forgot to do it.
I thought he was a bit unlucky, to be honest.
Yeah, of all the challenges that he put in, that was probably the softest one, actually.
Yeah. I was really surprised that when he got booked. Consider all the other stuff that had been happening, throughout the game.
Yeah,
and
the referee was terrible, wasn't he? I mean, in that respect, because Bournemouth got away with so much, without getting booked or anything like that, and one challenge and bang,
It gets to the stage during some of the games we've seen. You wonder what the referee's got to do to give a free kick. Getting an echo here for some reason.
Yeah, he was playing lots of advantage for a long time and then going back as well.
Yeah. Well, he's probably watching the rugby the day before.
Right. Yeah, and then James on 42 minutes, goal behind. Porro pass intercepted. Kirky's breakaway crosses far post. Taverner scores. It was a beautiful cross, though. I mean, I've got to admit.
Oh yeah, that was it. I wasn't even really surprised when they scored. If I'm honest, I thought they're probably going to get a goal. I just kind of had a feeling. And as it was just said, the worst thing at the moment is normally if Liverpool game, for example, in the cup, I'm focused. I'm watching the game. I'm not paying attention to anything else. I'm not even really looking at my phone. Game at the weekend was on the TV. Bit boring. Went and made a cup of tea. I wasn't, it was there, but I wasn't paying as much attention to it as I otherwise normally would, because I'm kind of like, well, I'd like for us to win, but I'm not going to be upset if we lose. And then, I was just like, oh, it's a good cross. Good goal. Fair enough. We can't defend for some reason. So, yeah.
Blaine, they deserved the 1-0 lead at half time, didn't they?
They definitely did. I mean, we were very, very lacking in creativity, playing hospital passes most of the half, just inviting on pressure. And that for me is the biggest thing. We always invite pressure onto ourselves. Yeah, I get that we want to play a certain style. You want to build up quickly from the back. But realistically, how often do you see us pull it off? For every 10 attempts we try to play out from the back, how many times do we concede possession? It's probably 40 or 50% of the time. Or we get snubbed out before we even break. To me, it's lunacy. What's the definition of madness? Keep doing the same thing over and over again and hope that it changes, for a different outcome. It's same old, same old.
Their keeper didn't even have to make a save in the first half, which is disgraceful, Kev, isn't it?
Tell me this, do you think that it was Porro's pass that was the worst part of that goal, or the fact that Johnson didn't track back, or a combination of both?
Well, more could have been done.
Trying to pass to Johnson, wasn't he? So,
yeah. Well, you get into stage in what phase of play do you want to blame a player? And usually Spurs fans will blame a player they don't like, right? That's what normally happens, right? So, look, Porro, someone's saying, well, if he'd more chipped the ball, then it wouldn't have happened or whatever. But, look, Porro, at least, I'm critical of him, right? I wonder if we get a net game of him. He's a technically superb footballer, but I just don't know if he just suits us. Maybe better off selling him.
But then hasn't Porro, I think I've seen a stat, right? And he's not here tonight. He would love it. But Porro apparently across the top 10 leagues in Europe is the player who's given away the ball most in possession.
True.
Yeah, they've all done it this year, haven't they?
Yeah, so, there was another stat about Porro, though, that he put in the most crosses this season of anyone in the league.
Yeah.
You know, that
He
blew
does
my
try
mind.
things, so he does take. I mean, Potchels used to say, "Take a risk in the final third." I mean, you should know as a player if someone's behind you, even if you're a winger. Go and take the player on. If you've got the player behind you, if you lose the ball, someone's behind you. If he slows the play down, you can then get back, right? But I don't see any. It's a distinct lack of football IQ in this team of ours. Like,
it's partly the blame on the players and partly on the system, I think, because if Porro's going to bomb forward and you're going to leave that space exposed, you know, Bentancur has to sit back, or Basuma has to sit back, or somebody has to cover that flank because you're just going to leave the two centre backs fully exposed.
I think a part of this issue is I don't think Ange is the kind of manager who micromanages what the players do on the pitch. I think he just kind of trusts them to have enough footballing intelligence to figure it out amongst themselves. And that works, right, when you have intelligent football players, but I don't think you can do that with these set of players. I think you do have to micromanage them, like Conte did, right? I think you have to kind of do that a little bit more. And I think that's partially some of the defensive problems. I mean, I find it hilarious that we're more willing to play risky passes in our own penalty area than we are in the other team's penalty area.
Yeah, that is. I mean, I think with Porro, I mean, probably last season, or since we bought him, I would say he'd been one of our most accurate passes of a football. But he just seems to have gone downhill a bit lately. And that, you know, as a kid when I used to play many, many years ago, it's always, you know, pass the ball into the space for something to run onto. And he doesn't seem to do that. And I think that's what happened with this goal. But whether it's a bad pass or not, and it was a good, let's be honest, it's a really brilliant goal, a really great breakaway goal, perfect cross, brilliantly hit on the volley. You know, you can't argue with that. But it's really disconcerting how quickly they got through us. And they just went right at the other end of the pitch. And I think even the second goal, which was the goal that was disallowed, and the third goal, more of the same sort of thing. And watching the game against AZ on Thursday, I think their midfielder got the ball and just literally ran the whole length of the pitch unchallenged. You know, and that's really worrying me. And that's, you know, you're going to concede a lot of goals.
Who are you talking about? Hey, he's a very good player.
Yeah, it's just a, you got to try and stop them. We don't seem to do that. And
I've got to the stage where it's very hard to really come in hard on individuals. I can critique their performances after each game, but when we've been a collective bag of shit all season, and so many people have not been off their game, when it's just one individual, you know, then you can go a bit harder with them, like, and be harsh. I'm going to do this next banner, and then I'm going to go through the chat. 45 minutes, Basuma booked. Hacked and then Nielsen down from behind. He loves a book in Basuma, doesn't he?
Classic Basuma.
Yeah, he also loves touching the ball and letting it run 10 yards away from him.
Basuma's a player who's very prone to the only way I can describe it is brain farts. Like his brain stops working for 5 seconds and he does something stupid. Serge Aurier used to do that loads as well, but Basuma just does it. He can have a brilliant game, but he will have a brain fart and do something stupid every game. Basuma always does that.
Right, we've got some regular supporters of the show in the chat. I want to thank them for being here and give them a shout out. Graham, big up, mate. Good to have you in here.
Big up, Graham.
Peter Cahagas, he's like a paramedic in Australia, does a fantastic job out there.
Like time in Australia,
Yeah.
Your daily time check as usual.
You'll have to meet up with Brad next time he's in Aussie, Peter. Right. Yeah, so big up, Peter. And he's also one of the most generous supporters of many podcasts, Peter, as he's always handing out memberships to people. Graham again, good day, Peter. Audio Artson, another good friend of the channel. Big up, Audio. He's going Graham. Peter again. Audio again. We've got 38 watching us at the moment, which is excellent, especially with the football on. I'll probably frighten you all off now. Then we'll go and watch the football. Graham saying hello to you, Blaine.
It's still 1-0 PSG. There you go.
Is it?
Yeah. Daniel, big up Daniel. He's become a show regular as well. Thank you, Daniel. Big up. That's it. Right, I'll come back to the banners because that's it. We'll get into the second half. Right. This is what we wanted. Who should we go with? Kev. I think he got these substitutions right.
Yeah, he did. I mean, Sonny and Bergwijn were warming up during the half time, so us in the stadium knew it was going to happen. Before it happened, it was just a sort of a guess of who he was actually going to take off, because to my mind and Tom's mind, Bentancur was having a nightmare game.
Yeah.
His passing was awful. He does something. He'll do it every game. He'll play a blind pass across the pitch when the ball's being played out to him from the back. Now it's probably because we're playing out from the back, and he suddenly got three players around him. But he just doesn't look where he's passing it. He just hits the ball and hopes. And 9 times out of 10, it's picked up by the opposition. And he did that at least twice in the first half. Yeah. And generally, his passing was poor. So I thought he was going to go off, but he did eventually. But and Johnson, I've defended Johnson this season at the beginning of the season, especially when he was knocking in the goals. But he again was poor on.
Yeah, he's still got 14 goals and 3 assists. He's the best goal scorer. 14 goals and 3 assists.
Yeah. Like I say, for the goals.
Yeah. It was telling though, wasn't it? That because I thought Bentancur, and I'm a fan of Bentancur, and I thought I'd have given him a 3. But if I do numbers, which I don't, I thought he had his poorest game in the shirt, and yet he takes Basuma off first, which tells you something about Basuma's future as far as I'm concerned. And I don't think Basuma's got the heart to play for this club no more. I think he knows he's going. Blaine, what do you think?
I think you're very fair in that assessment. I mean, look, for me, you're saying about Bentancur, he hasn't looked the same since that ACL injury. Since he's come back, he had a couple of 5-6s, but he's never been the same. I think, though, Ange did get it absolutely spot on. I think Sonny needs to be that bit part player. That player to come off the bench now, 60 minutes, half-time. Or if you're going to start him, you substitute him at half-time, because that just maintains his legs a little bit better. It gives him that freedom to run. See, when Sonny cut inside, you're probably going to move to it very soon whenever he hit the post. But that was a Sonny of old, cutting inside, dropping the shoulder, one touch out of feet. And I thought Bergwijn had an absolutely stonking game whenever he came up. Still got a few things wrong, but the drive and determination to pick it up at the base in the midfield and run with the ball and try to develop things, he's looking like a cracking talent.
Yep, definitely agree with that. I mean, I would have put him as man of the match, even though he played half of the match.
No, he was. There's definitely a talent there, and we've got to make sure that we can develop him and keep him, because if this club doesn't do anything in the next couple of seasons, and you get clubs like Real Madrid knocking around, he's going to go to them. So but he seems to play without any fear. I mean, I guess he's young enough to do that. But I was surprised. I wasn't surprised that he came on. I'd have rather that Son and Bergwijn had stayed off a bit longer, but we weren't playing well enough for that to happen. But I was surprised. I thought Bentancur would have come off at half time simply because he'd already taken a booking.
Yeah.
So, and I thought the actual direct replacement for Bentancur should have been Archie Gray. This would have been a perfect opportunity to actually play him in the position that we bought him for. We seem to be set. Our central defence now seems to be getting back to normal. We've got some players to choose from, so why not give Gray a chance? I'm hoping that we'll talk about the AZ game later, but I'm hoping that maybe that's what his thoughts were. He's saving him for Thursday, because I think Archie Gray and Bergwijn are now midfield. I think if we can add some experienced players to that, that's not a bad looking midfield.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. We're going to go through the squad and talk about transfers and what our priorities should be in the summer. 48 minutes, Bentancur backhill, Odegaard shot from 20 yards, deflected and cleared by Hill. 51 minutes. This was a brilliant move by Bournemouth, though, wasn't it? This goal that was disallowed. Because Semenyo, I thought, where's the offside? Because it was just inside our half, 2 or 3 yards inside our half. And I'm thinking, when they're checking it, I mean, I must have been looking the other way on the break because you do get distracted at the stadium sometimes.
Well, the weird thing, Adrian, is that where I sit, I sort of sit opposite. I'm looking at the south stand penalty area a little bit more towards the centre line. So I had a really good view of that attack. And I actually said to the people I sit with, I think that might have been offside. So I could be wrong, but I think that might have been offside. And when the VAR gave it pretty quickly, I thought, I was right. It wasn't until I watched Match of the Day that I realised that the player I thought was offside was actually onside. It was the other player that I didn't notice that was that it was in the half that got the ball that was actually offside. So I actually thought at the time this is offside, but actually I was wrong. I got the wrong player. But yeah,
there's a lot of interest in Semenyo. He might be leaving Bournemouth in the summer as well.
But a brilliant move. But
Yeah,
again, no matter how good the move was, they just got worse so easily.
Yeah.
Then Blaine, 54 minutes, Son inches wide. The shot was deflected from where I am. I'm right down the other end of the east stand. I'm in line actually with the goal line, like with the corner flag. That's where I am, right up higher.
All right.
So, yeah. So I get to see if the ball goes out for corners or not, But this, I thought was going in when he hit it.
I don't know if you watched the Match of the Day later, Adrian, or seen replays, but it didn't actually go wide. It flicked the outside of the post in the end. It did go down off the woodwork, but
it looked like it come off the player's calf or something like
it. It did, yeah. It took a very slight deflection, but I'll tell you what, I can't remember the guy's name who plays for Bournemouth in that, or Kappa as some people. I can't, don't even ask me to say his surname, please. I'll trip up on it 20 times. Yeah, just go for Kappa. But he was rooted. That was going in bottom corner. He was completely rooted. And like I said earlier, I've been Sonny's biggest critic all season. I love the guy to bits, but that reminded just a glimmer of Sonny of old. Dropped the shot, beat the man, got it out of feet. You've seen him 3-4 seasons ago doing that for fun.
Yeah, I totally agree with Blaine on this one. And also, I think what we miss with someone like Harry Kane, for instance, is the ability to get the ball and set up a shot so quickly. Get the ball, push it to one side and shoot. And Kane scored a lot of goals like that. Sonny scored a lot of goals like that. And I think we've really missed that from obviously one player not playing for us anymore, and the fact that Son doesn't do it anymore. But yeah, that was vintage Son, wasn't it, when he did that?
I think, unlucky. Yeah, I think you touched on it earlier. The Sonny is now got to be a bit part player because he can come on at that, and he knows he's only playing 45 minutes now, so he goes for it more. When he's starting the game, he's holding back. Or he's not quite going because he thinks, I haven't got the legs to last here. But when you bring him on with 30 minutes to go, or even in the whole of the second half, he can go for it much more like he was in the old, because he knows he's only got to last for the 30 minutes, and he can turn it on again. And he did it. He's done it in a few matches like that when he's come on, or he knows he's going off at half time, something like that. If he knows that's going to happen, then he can go for it, can't he? But yeah, he's definitely only.
When he's fresh, he looks good. I mean, he hasn't looked great on the eye test this season, but he's got 11 goals and 10 assists in all comps, and that's very good for a wide player. So James, good subs again.
Yeah, great. I mean, I think
you weren't making tea while he had his substitutions though.
I think Romero was always only going to play, an hour or so. And Maddison on for Bentancur, because Bentancur was bad, to put it politely, and he was on a yellow card. Still kind of surprised Archie Gray wasn't played at any point. Kind of baffling, right? Because he did when he played as a centre back, he never really got bullied, so he would definitely be able to play as a lone six. But yeah, Maddison comes on, another attacking midfielder. Yeah, I mean, any subs.
He's been good. No, he's been excellent. He's made nearly 40-odd appearances, Gray, and no one said a bad word about him.
No, he's been superb. But I don't get why he hasn't been given more of a chance in midfield since we now.
Maybe that's why he didn't play.
Yeah, maybe he plays Thursday. Who knows?
James, I don't think that Ange knows his best midfield three. I think that's why he hasn't been played more there.
Yeah, I kind of think the issue, and I said this ages ago in the summer, we don't have a six, right? Like Gray could be a 6, but we haven't seen him play there yet, really. And I don't think Bentancur or Basuma can really do that role. And I think they're too similar to each other in terms of what they do actually do. So when you play them together, they morph into one. And I think that's the issue, because Ange can't find the right balance.
We've seen Gray play at fullback. We've seen him like good in the air, good tackle. His recoveries are good, and then you see him play at centre back, and he's pretty solid. All right, he got bullied in one game. To me, there isn't that much more difference playing fullback, centre back for him to play as a 6 on Thursday. And it wouldn't surprise me if he didn't play. Like, I had that. It's little things you pick up, and then later on you think, "Oh, I was wrong about that." But there could be something in that Gray not playing. He might be pissed off with the midfield and decide, "I'm going to play him." Go on, Blaine. Go on.
I was just going to ask, and I'll throw this out to the panel. Right. So when Greg came to us from Leeds, he played 27 games at right back for them the season before. Right.
Yeah.
He's played twice in midfield for us.
Mm-hmm.
Is he ever going to actually end up as a midfielder, or is he going to end up like Eric Dyer moving into defence?
He also played three games for Leeds as a number 10, and he played in midfield, and he bossed the midfield against Chelsea in a cup.
That's right, yeah.
He bossed it, right? He's just a footballer. He's just an all-round footballer. He can play. He could play anywhere in the back 7, couldn't he? You know.
But you remember when Dyer came to us, right? He played centre of midfield. He scored
on his debut against West Ham, didn't he?
Right?
The winning goal.
And then he got shunted into centre back, and he never played midfield again.
I think actually, Blaine, I don't want to say you're wrong. I thought Dyer came as he made his first game as a right back. I thought he came as a centre back, and I thought it was Pochettino who put him into the midfield.
But didn't Dyer start his first game against West Ham in midfield?
No, he played right.
He was right back.
I might be wrong on that.
From Porto.
And I think on the mid-season, he played at centre back, and on a mid-season, on a pre-season tour, I remember reading about Pochettino playing him in the midfield. So I thought it was the other way around. So
see, there's my memory playing up on me again.
I think with Archie Gray, I mean Archie Gray. Don't forget, in the pre-season games he played at centre back because we had our main centre backs were on international duty or whatever, had played in the Euros. So I think, and I remember saying at the time, this is really good sort of education for him for playing in the midfield, because I see him as that sort of number 6 player. Although Ange would probably argue that we don't have 6, 8s or 10s anymore, but I think it'd be perfect for that role. And having played the season in as a centre back, he could very well do what Eric Dyer did, because I think what Eric Dyer did was you had your Alderweireld and your Vertonghen as your centre backs, and Dyer was that defensive midfield who could drop back when the 2 fullbacks pushed forward. If we remember, we had Walker and Rose, who were very, very attacking forwards. And I think, from memory, Dyer would come back to make it a back 3 when they pushed forward. So you could well see Archie Graham doing.
You probably seen in the chat today, there was a good lot of talk around the 3-5-2 or the 5-3-2. That pivot with Gray going in and out of possession. Yeah. So maybe that's what we might see in the future, whether it be under Ange or the next manager, whoever or whenever that might be. One thing I'd like to say also was, and those who are at the game would have heard this, when Van der Ven came on, that was probably the biggest cheer and the biggest round of Mickey Van der Ven song I've ever heard. And I thought to myself, no pressure, Mickey, But then the thing was, when he got that ball and did that run up the left, one of his, runs that we all know he's capable of, I think everyone was half thinking, "Oh, this is great," and the other half thinking, "Don't pull your hamstring, sort of thing."
Yeah. Every time he sort of stretched for a ball, it was
This guy looks a good player. I see players coming in for him in 62 minutes. Kirkes shoots, Vicaro tips behind. Not only did he run up the pitch for the goal, but he looks a good fullback. I haven't seen too much. I mean, I don't watch other teams that much, right? Spurs takes up all my time, but shot behind for a corner. This Oh, Sarr should have scored. 63 minutes.
That's a
Madison
good move. That's probably one of our best
1-2,
moves.
1-2. Sarr dragged the ball wide out. Open goal. And I actually thought Sarr had a very good game because he played the 90. I know everyone would give it a Bergvall, but I thought he had a good game. But we'll talk about that later. So he dragged the ball at his mercy. Then on 65 minutes, 0-2. Kirker slips Evan Nelson in, clips the ball over. That was a bit easy the way he slipped past Dan Soto.
It was a really good move, but they got through us so easily.
There was that turn on the edge of the box, which sort of completely flummoxed our midfield and centre halves. That was a great turn. And as soon as he'd done that, it was a goal all the way, wasn't it? So
yeah.
And this for the fans' favourite after VDV, 66-minute James Bergvall shoots, dipping effort, 20 yards. It come off the left-hand half. So I could have cried for him, it didn't go in.
So shot. I mean, from where we were down the other end of the pitch, it was. It was great. It was.
I like to see him do more of that. Actually, I like to see Bergvall shoot more.
Yeah.
Blaine, it was deserving of a goal, though, wasn't it? He'll get him. He'll score.
He will. I mean, honestly, in terms of a pure strike, I haven't seen anybody hit the balls good for us this season.
Yeah.
Sar's done a couple, hasn't he? Unlike that one where he completely fluffed it. He's had a couple of reasonably good shots here and there. I mean, I suppose the next thing we're going to get onto is his wonderful shot.
Yeah, the 67 minutes, Sarr sees the keeper off his line, chips in, beautiful chip into the far corner.
He took a look at the keeper's position. He knew what he was doing. No.
Well, the thing is about that. If that had been Maddison or David Beckham, let's go back a bit, or anyone, they'd have said, "Oh, what an absolutely amazing goal by Beckham there! He saw the keeper of his line." Or back Pat Sarr, it's like, he missed that
Sarr
cross.
surprised himself. It went in. You know what I mean?
But Kane did that against Southampton when he finally scored in August or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, it was definitely wasn't a shot; it was a cross sort of thing. But I mean.
And the one against Arsenal when he had the mask on at Wembley, that was so tight to score from that position for Kane.
That wasn't a Wembley, that was a White Hart Lane.
That's White Hart Lane.
That was White Hart
Lane. I don't get a lot of enjoyment out of that goal because ultimately we still didn't win the game because that put us 2-1. I think we were top of the table for about 12 minutes, and then Arsenal equalised. So it's a great goal and a great celebration, but. Yeah, it's tinged with the fact that we didn't win.
Brilliant goal, James, or fluke?
Oh, it can be a fluke and a brilliant goal, can't it? I'm actually quite surprised. I'm quite surprised the commentators, after he scored, didn't really react. They were like, "Oh, Sarr scored a goal.
Yeah,
nice one, well done." I'm like, I think, did we watch the same goal? I'm good. Okay, that was amazing. Doesn't matter.
Well, he does tend to score special goals, like the one against Man City at home, and things like that. He does tend to get special ones. Yeah.
We didn't five now, believe it or not. In our little bit of the South Stand, we didn't really celebrate the goal. It was we scored.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. It wasn't really a tight moment almost. It was a very strange. We had very strange reaction to the goal. In both goals, even the penalty.
Yeah.
I mean, we were
this might surprise you. Sarr's got 6 goals and 2 assists so far this season. That'll be in all comps.
Yeah.
I like the fact people say he runs around he's more to his game than that, and I believe he's going to develop even more. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think
3 starting midfielders, he was by far the best.
Yeah, if you've done 90 minutes, otherwise you give it to Berryvale. That's his name. He's not Bergvall, it's Berryvale, isn't it?
I think
73 minutes.
Sorry, Adrian. In terms of Sarr, I think we begged him up too much because you heard people saying Sarr Toure. Again, we fall victim to this so often. We pick up a player when he's so young.
But he was our best player last season in midfield because don't forget Maddison was injured, Bentancur was injured, Basuma had 3 suspensions, and Sarr was by far our best midfielder.
No, I'm taking nothing away from it, but he's not Yaya Toure.
No, he's not. He's
yeah.
not. But
Patrick Vieira.
he's one of those players that goes unnoticed because he doesn't look that sexy, and then he'll pull off a wonder goal like against Man City and against like these. So I think there's a lot more to come from him. I hope there is anyway. 73 minutes, we got away with one here. Although it sort of wasn't the hardest shot, was it? Tavernier to Kluivert.
No.
He tries to put it in the far corner, but it just bounced. Go on, anyone?
Where I sit, we're directly behind him as he shot the goal, as he made the shot. And I'd give Vicario the big up here because he definitely made that target incredibly hard for him. And virtually all he could do was push it round Vicario as he was standing up and onto the post. You know, probably the only way he could have scored is to go through Vicario, through his legs or something like that. But Vicario positioned himself really well for that to make him sort of miss the goal basically.
Yeah, I had a good view of the ball and its trajectory towards the goal. It was like, you know. I mean, maybe going back to your point, Kev, earlier, maybe that's why. And I agree, the crowd was sort of, we scored. Maybe it's because, we're 2-1, but Bournemouth are probably going to come back and score anyway. You know, so it's probably maybe that was the thing.
Yeah, it could have been. I don't know what it was. It just weren't. It was flat.
Yeah,
you know,
you've got to go back.
Yeah.
And Brain, what was Kepa doing here? Brain fart time, wasn't it? He didn't even have to touch him. I mean,
I don't understand that. I mean, Son was running down an alleyway drunk, blind at 3:30 in the morning. You know, he didn't know where he was. And Kevin just goes, I'm just going to take you out anyway. Sure, why not? I mean, talk about a gift. Flipping heck. Mind you, the build-up to the penalty was probably some of the most free-flowing football we've played in a long time.
It was a good move, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
It was the one time we managed to beat the press from Bournemouth and get through their midfield in 2 passes, and bang, Son's in.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, it was that pass between full-back and the centre-back. You know, the one we've been crying out for all the time, to someone to run on into the space.
Yeah. Can I also just add, what a penalty by Son. Jeepers, that was just a a move. Oh.
I mean, during the game, that's like the other end from me. When it went in, it's sort of like, did I just witness that? He just sort of just rolled it in, didn't he?
It's like it was in slow motion, Brad.
Yeah. It looked like he sort of bounced on the goal line as well and flicked up from where we were because we were so far away from it. We think, did the keeper touch it or what? You know, it was, when we were watching. But
I thought Son was. I don't know if it's tactical, but he seemed to be playing a bit narrower, to be a bit more, to have space, to be a bit closer to Solanke in that there, give him a bit more to think about, rather than out on the wing when he's trying to jink his way around. So 90 plus one, Vicario so strong. It's hard, but it was so easy save, really. Sorry, go on. What was you going to say?
I was going to say, it does worry me a little bit when Maddison comes on because he's very much drifting out and Sonny is still playing out on the left. Maddison drifts out to the left quite a lot. And so there's 2 of them on the left wing, but it does leave a big hole in the middle of midfield, which people can break through at sometimes. And I think that when Liverpool beat us 6-3, Maddison was out on that bloody left wing all the time, and every time Liverpool just cut straight through the middle of us. Now, so you know that does worry me a bit when Maddison comes on. Although you know he's passing, we needed his passing to get that penalty and the other goals really. So, but it just does worry me a little bit.
What does everyone make of the? It's sort of when it was like, it's Maddison or Son to take the penalty. Oh, hang on a minute, Solanke's got the ball. Oh, he's playing against his old club. Blah blah blah. What does anyone make of all this?
Apparently
it's a thing. I was watching Ali Gold's thing yesterday, and he says it's a thing that the person who's not going to take the penalty holds the ball.
Yeah,
it's
because of all the winding up the keeper and players round, and it's just to keep the pressure off, I think.
Yeah,
Liverpool do it with Salah. You know Salah's.
That happens all the time. It happens with Salah all the time. Yeah.
I guess they're trying to protect the player.
And then the last knocking's really 90+6. Spence cuts the ball back. Madison shoots, blocked by the back of Kirkes. He was involved in everything, Kirkes, wasn't he? You know? Looks a good player. Before we move on to the players and the game management, I want to go through the chat and look. There's 57 of you viewing us now, which is fantastic. As Liverpool playing PSV, unless you all hate Liverpool and PSV. Our content. Please give the channel a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and please spread the word. Spread the word out there, right? As well about us, if you like us. Right, a few comments.
Still 1-0 to PSG after 90 minutes.
Yeah,
It is. Yes. Yep.
Wow.
5 minutes added time.
Jeff,
And
you've got to love this name.
Here's a surprise: Harry Kane scored for Bayern Munich.
and assisted Davies as well.
This is a good one, folk off. You can read it that way you like. And then he's a folk off, male or female, is a regular on the show now. Thanks for coming. Audio apparently going for Sirkin. Yeah, he was our left back in the academy.
Dennis Sirkin. Wow, there's a name from the past.
Yeah,
he comes out of our academy, went there.
Done well, wasn't he? He's still at Sunderland.
But he wasn't. I don't know if we had a left back at the time. We probably had 2 left backs at the time. Right. Wink scored one from the halfway line. Yeah, I remember that. That was against Fulham away, wasn't it? I think.
No, he got a winner against Fulham away with a header, didn't he? In the
Yeah,
last.
it was Europa or Champions League, wasn't it?
That's the Nkudu cross,
yeah.
wasn't it? The Nkudu cross. Right. Okay, we'll move on to management and the players and get your comments on that, guys. Angie's game management, James?
Does he do game management? Like, other than make substitutions? No, I mean, he kind of... Maybe he is doing more than it seems to me. But, I mean, I agree with all of his subs today, actually, more or less. I don't think he got those particularly wrong today, the weekend. He got those right, I think. I do just kind of think we seem to go at the same speed all game long, no matter what's happening. It doesn't seem like, especially like the first few minutes where we nearly concede twice, right? Very early on. That to me seems a time where he should say, okay, maybe we don't play out of the back at the moment. Maybe we go long for 5-10 minutes. So he doesn't seem to do much game management. I think he almost expects the players to do that themselves, which they obviously are incapable of doing. So, yeah.
Okay, then, Brad.
Yeah, I agree with James on that one. I think he's very much this is the philosophy of how we're going to play. You guys, work it out as to how the game is flowing, and we don't seem to do that. And we don't. What I've noticed is we're not coming out all guns blazing now, which was a lot of the criticism before. Was we're too gung ho, and that's why we concede goals. Well, now we don't seem to do that anyway, and we just don't seem to. And whether that is an Ange thing or not, the impression I get is we're not playing the way his football has to be played, which is like 100 miles an hour, high intensity, high press, and that's why we do get lots of substitutions, because it you can only do that for so long, and then you've got to sort of freshen it up a bit. But look, I've been critical as I say, on Sunday I would have brought on Gray for Bentancur, but he's the guy who's on the training pitch during the week and sees what they're doing, and he knows what he's probably got in mind for Thursday. But we certainly don't. It's not like we'll get a goal up and then we're going to defend for the last 15 minutes. That sort of game management we definitely don't do. But sometimes a team like Tottenham, we've never done that really. Tottenham have never really, got a goal up and said, right, we're going to defend the last 10 minutes. Not that I can remember. We've always been a sort of gung-ho team all the way back in history. So maybe
unless under Conte, that's about maybe.
Yeah, maybe Conte or Mourinho, you might have had that. Yeah. But
George Graham, maybe.
Georgie. Yeah.
Apart from that,
just 10 years in the last 30. Yeah.
But no, it doesn't seem a Tottenham thing to defend. So, and from my point of view, I'd much rather get the 2-goal up than hang on to the 1-0.
True. I agree with folk off. He got the substitutions, I think, pretty much spot on. But I've said this in a couple of channels. Do you ever get the suspicion, right? I know it doesn't happen, but that Ange just picks up a copy of The Sun and goes for a shit at halftime and says, right, Mason, you go and take the team talk.
Yeah.
Honestly, because we don't come out. I like, you could be a goal down, 2 down, and I never see the reaction from the players anymore. There's no fire. There's no desire, willingness to go right at it from the very first.
We don't seem to do what we did in the early days, and that's score a lot of late goals.
Yeah.
You know, we used to do that a lot, didn't we? We all remember the Sheffield United game, 1-0 down going into injury time.
Liverpool, 94th minute.
Yeah, exactly. We did that a lot, and because but we don't seem to do that anymore. I don't know. It's difficult. It's difficult. I think with the starting lineup, I mean, it wasn't. Yeah, I think that, as I said, well, most of us said before, I think that's looking ahead to Thursday. I really do.
Right, Blaine, pick one. Spencer or Porro, you have the other one, Kev, once he's done.
I have to go for Spence, but I will caveat and say that whenever Spence got moved to the right, he definitely did not look as effective. I think he's far better at left back.
Interested, because he has played well on the right at Forest and against Arsenal and things like that. So
I think
it's just that we haven't seen him a lot on the right to form an opinion on the right. I don't think it's not.
I mean, I've heard a lot of people touting about him and Johnson and the pairing on the right whenever they play for Forest together, but I've yet to see it at Spurs. But then again, how often have we ever seen that partnership together on the right? Very, very seldom.
I mean, with the inverted fullbacks, I mean, playing on the left, it's good for him that he cuts inside onto his right foot. And there is that, I suppose, which might be a bit bigger advantage for him playing on the left. But yeah, it is quite. I just think he's obviously just one of our best players at the moment and can play right or left.
Porro, Kev? Go on, you say something about Spence if you want as well.
I was going to say something. His first game, when he first came back into the team this season, he played on the right, didn't he? And had that magnificent sort of first 10 minutes or so, which have got everyone saying, why the hell hasn't he been playing and why was he left out of the Europa squad type thing. But I agree. At the moment, he seems more effective on the left than he does on the right. Porro, well, we've discussed Porro before, but he does leave a lot of space, doesn't he, on that right-hand side, and that's where everyone seems to attack us when he's playing, because there's just so much room down there, and that's probably it doesn't help with Johnson not tracking back as well when Johnson's out there. But Kulu didn't tend to do it too much when he's on the right either. And always just seems to be that big space over there, when other teams attack. I mean,
it makes you wonder what the right-sided midfielder's doing, and the right-sided centre back. So then, with the left centre back and with the left back, they've got to come across together.
I mean. Yeah, it is what it is. I think with Porro, we know what we're going to get from him most of the time, and it's a frustration when the other side attacks.
I guess he was bought as a wing back, wasn't he? Playing free at the back under Conte, and obviously that's sort of in the past now, and we don't play free at the back. So maybe that's the reason.
James, going to give you Dan, so you're not going to get a choice. Just the pressures on him so far at the club. And on the game in general. I didn't think it was his best game personally, but go on.
I don't think he was great. He looks like a good centre back. He does love a run forward, doesn't he? Quite like that about him. Him and Van der Ven playing together could be a little gung ho. Well, him and Romero is quite gung ho, isn't it? I quite like him. I mean, he's fairly young, I think. Romero was poor, and Van der Ven, good to see him back. I think a lot of the time, especially when we're playing with a high line, you need Van der Ven because he's so fast, he can kind of recover if we've lost the ball or if they've got a counter-attack or something. And we really struggle dealing with any kind of ball over the top without Van der Ven, I think.
Brad, on Romero and Vidic. I mean, we haven't really seen us play. We've seen us attempt the high press and do the high press, but we haven't really played a high line for months. I can't recall when we were last parked four defenders on the halfway line, because you've got to be in good form to do that, and we've been crap.
Yeah, and also, as James was saying, Van der Ven's got the pace to recover. And we all remember when other teams have broken on us, and I've been watching and thinking, oh, that's all right, Van der Ven's going to catch him anyway. And 9 times out of 10 he did. But now the problem now is the fact that we don't know how bad this or how strong his hamstrings are, because that's what 2 hamstrings injuries he's had with us. And I think he had one for the Dutch team or wherever we bought him from. So that's always a worry. But I mean, on their day, Romero and Van der Ven, yeah, they could be the partnership like Alderweireld and Vertonghen. I think Romero. I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, but what Postecoglou was saying about ring rust is probably true. Although going back to earlier, it was a complete rust bucket of a pass. But yeah, they're good players, and we certainly need them. But coming back from their injuries, are we going to see them playing 90 minutes every game for the rest of the season? I don't think we will. I think we'll see them gradually phased into it. Maybe only playing in the Europa League games.
We're just getting Romero fit for Argentina, and he's going to come back injured.
Or for
the thing I like about Danzo, especially, I mean, yes, he's very good at progressive, and he's on the ball. But I like the chant they started doing for him against Bournemouth, because they're using Pavlyuchenko's chant, and so it's super Kev. So yeah, I've got to go with that, really, haven't I?
Yeah.
On that,
I mean, to be fair,
I'll be back in a second.
To be fair, when you think of how much of a problem, how bad we were affected by injuries going into the transfer window, and we badly needed a player, and he came in right at the end of the transfer window. He made his debut in the shambolic game against Liverpool. I think he's done bloody well,
Yeah, I do as well.
considering that he's hit the ground running and has sort of settled in, become part of the team without even noticing it, really. But yeah, I think, yes, he's got a mistake in him. He didn't have the best of games on Sunday, to be honest. But yeah, he's I think he's a good player. And
There he is, big Roman himself.
Oh, is that the Pavlyuchenko shirt?
I don't know if you can see it. Is it coming up?
No, you can't see it because you got the.
No.
That's it.
Filters coming back and forth. Yeah.
Let's move on to the midfield. Kev?
Well, I think I said it at the start. When I saw that 3 that was starting, I was, oh my God. Bergvall, or however you want to say his name, he turned the game around. I know we conceded a game just after half time, but he was such. He's the player who takes the ball forward, takes the players on, and creates the space, because he's taking the other team on, which no one else seems to want to do. They seem to want to content to playing little 5-yard square passes to each other. No one wants to play commit the man. And I always used to say that about Lamela as well. He was a player who would force the other side to make the foul or, create the space. And we need that. And Bergvall is proving, he started off very tentatively, as you could probably understand from an 18-year-old coming into the game, but earlier in the season. But now, everyone knows what he can do, and they expect him to do it. And he is, for me, he's a dynamic player in the middle.
Are his 8 bookings a concern in all competition?
Well, yeah, him and Bentancur do tend to get the bookings, and I would probably almost have them on for, if they were playing together, have a double booking between them if I was going for it. I think, because I was, I know we sort of capitulated against Liverpool in the second leg of the thing, but I was always thinking, if we've been anywhere near beating them, please get another booking, Bergvall, then you can serve your suspension in the in the league rather than miss the League Cup final. So it was that sort of way because of the one he got in the first leg. But
is he suspended for Thursday?
No, bad
Yeah.
Bentancur, I think.
He got 3 yellow cards, so up to the round of 16. After quarterfinals, there's an amnesty. There's an amnesty after that, right? Then it's every 2 after that, which is unlikely. So then it'd be every 5th, every 7th, every 9th booking, right? So
it's 3, 5, 7, isn't it? Yeah, it's a strange old system.
I think so.
Go on.
I think some of the bookings he has got this season have been very strange ones.
Yeah.
He's been a bit unlucky, I think, with some of these bookings.
Yeah, so a lot of them are slightly
sent off
miscontrolled ball.
Yeah,
I'm sure he'll get better as he gets older, as he sort of calms down a little bit. I mean, Basuma's the same, isn't he? Slight miscontrol of the ball. I'll go after that ball to get it, and bang, that's the booking. So
the way he carries the ball forward when he takes a man on and beats him, it's very similar to Eze, I think, but he's more aggressive. I just think he's got a bit more aggression than Eze's got. I think we've got a superstar there, I really do.
And you don't want to take that edge away from him either, because that hunger to get to the ball,
true,
that will come with experience, when to leave your foot in, when not, when to go for it. But you want that battle and that grit in midfield, and I'm liking what I see. His physicality's come up as well. I mean, do you remember when we signed him? We looked at him and said, "Oh, he's a bit weak looking. He's a little bit thin. He's bulked out a bit."
He has, yeah.
In the pre-season game against Bayern, I think it was, in the pre-season game against Bayern, he suddenly collapsed in the middle of the field.
He did, yeah.
For no apparent reason.
Looks like he swallowed a bee or something.
Yeah. That was a bit worrying, but he seems to, whatever it was, I think he seems to have got over it.
James, your impression on Sarr?
Yeah, a bit of a hard player to quantify sometimes, because he doesn't always.
He
I think a
don't
lot of what he does. Yeah, he's not an attractive player, as it were, and I don't mean in the way Bergvall's attractive. I mean he does a lot of boring stuff, maybe, but he's such a box-to-box midfielder. He's always running. He's always trying to break up play, and he's actually quite good going forward. Yeah, I think he's a bit of an engine, really, and it's hard to really quantify what makes him so good in so many ways, other than just I think the fact that he runs a lot and he's pretty good defensively. I think he's got a better head for being a 6 than Bentancur or Basuma does, and I don't think he is a 6. So it does make you wonder a little bit about Bentancur and Basuma. But I really like Sarr. I think he's an exceptional midfielder.
So guys, I'll throw out to you, Maddison and Basuma, the other couple.
Well, Basuma will be gone in the summer. I
hope so. I'll back him when he's at the club. I'll support every man.
Yeah, me too. But it's too much of a liability.
Yeah, I think he knows as well, and I think it shows in his performances.
He's got a year left in the contract. Cash in, get something back for your investment.
Right. Kev,
Maddison, I think I was just going to say about Maddison, we've got to pick and choose when he plays a bit better than maybe we have been doing. There's some games where he'd be very, very good and sometimes doesn't play, but he is the one who can pick that ball out that we don't seem to want to play. Yeah.
I think the issue with Maddison is that he's very much a 1 in 10 kind of player. Like maybe 1 in 8, right? 1 in 8 games, he'll have a world-class performance where he basically wins you the game. And I think he used to do that at Leicester as well. And obviously, back when Leicester were, not great. I mean, we're not great at the moment. You only see the 1 in 8 performance because you kind of expect to lose more games than you win when you're in the bottom half of the table. So you only ever see that brilliant performance. But I think he still does it even when he, in theory, is surrounded by better players. Maybe it's just an issue of first year didn't quite know the system. Second year, everyone's been a bit terrible. So maybe that will change, right, when everyone else improves. But he does strike me as a guy who is very inconsistent in his level of performance. And some games he just doesn't do anything. He doesn't seem like he's doing anything whatsoever, which is a worry. And I think that's the difference between him and an actually world-class midfielder.
Adrian put it quite well earlier on. So to me, Madison's biggest problem is he drifts away to the sidelines too often. Madison's best position is floating in behind 10, right? Where he has a pocket of space to look up, pick a pass. The problem we have is you look at our setup half the time, you've two people out in either flank. You've only got Solanke as a target man, maybe somebody coming from midfield. Where is he actually picking a pass to? Who's making the run? How often do you see our players being static?
Yeah.
And not making that run?
Another thing, I get it in some games when we're doing well, it doesn't matter. I don't mind if Madison's dropping a bit deep. But when he's dropping deep and we haven't played well this season, it's not good enough him dropping deep, because when you're winning well and you're playing well, he drops it. I don't care what he does then. When it's not working, he needs to be central or forward.
Yeah.
And yet he's the sort of player that we need to play really well on Thursday.
He did all right when he came on, though. I thought he did all right. Yeah, he did all right.
Yeah.
We move on to the forwards before we and then we're going to change subject once I thank everyone again. Odegaard, Solanke, Johnson, and Song. One each. James, pick one.
I'll talk about my countryman Johnson. Defended this man a lot.
An enigma. 14 goals and 3 assists in all comps.
I mean, he runs to the back post and he taps it in. He's brilliant at that, world class at that. And what's always quite frustrating for me about Johnson is I've seen him play quite a lot for Wales, right? He plays completely differently for Wales. Like, he actually runs at people. He tries to get past defenders. Never seen him do that for Tottenham. Don't know why. Honestly, no idea. Don't know if it's managing. Don't know if it's just he feels more confident when he plays in the international team. Maybe it's the level of football. Don't know. But he's never looked like the player I thought we were getting when we first signed him. But at the same time, he scores goals. But he doesn't seem to do much else. He doesn't track back very much. And you do wonder, like, is it a confidence issue?
You think the two wingers, when Werner's been playing, I hope he doesn't play another game for us again, and they're parked on the sidelines, right? They're parked on them lines. You think they're tactically they're just told to stay there to keep opponents' defenders occupied?
Maybe. I presumably, because I don't think he's lazy necessarily. I'm sure he would draw back if he was asked to, but it always leaves whoever is the fullback very exposed a lot of the time. So, be it like Spence or Porro, and Porro isn't great defensively anyway. I don't think. I think he's really a wing back, not a fullback. So I think that causes us a lot of defensive issues when Johnson won't even come back just to be a spare body, as it were, just to mark someone. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of an enigma, but at the moment he's just looking an impact sub really. Because
it's interesting that you said that, James, about him taking players on, because that's the one criticism of him. And I'm thinking, I'm sure he used to do that, but is he? And I've said this before. Is he more of an inside forward than an actually outside right?
Yes. Yeah. He's played up front for Wales quite a few times.
Yeah.
Or he's played as one of two strikers with Kiefer Moore. He's never really been the guy to hug the touchline, either some, which I don't know why. We have to ask our wingers who want to be central to stay really wide when it obviously doesn't work. But yeah, he's playing much more centrally. And then I think the issue is as well, in particular, a lot of the time our fullbacks won't go down the byline. They'll stay very central. It just leads to all of our attacking play being incredibly narrow and quite easy to block out.
There seems to be a lack of dribbling wingers in the game, as the games become more robotic, and they rely more on overloads, because you haven't got the risk of losing the ball when you get overloads. You just bypass the defender, and that's why they seem to be a bit of a rarity, dribbling wingers. And when you get one come along, you should snap him up, But yeah. So, Brad, then what about Solanke?
Well, I think we're still to see the best of him, and I'm talking about a goal scorer. He has scored goals this season, but as far as giving us a focal point up front, I think he's quite he's the only player we've got at the moment to do that. And it's good to see him back. Good to see that injury that he got against AZ wasn't anything serious. But I was really beginning to think that White Hart Lane had been built on an Indian burial ground, and that's why we're cursed. But I think Solanke, he's one of these players that could be a really, really good player. But I think we just need to give him a bit more time. Knee injuries aren't the best. He's just come off of that. and we didn't really give him a lot of stuff on Sunday, did we? We didn't support him a lot. Didn't give him a lot of stuff, you know. So still see the best of him. But I'm glad he's back, and hopefully he'll be fit for Thursday night against AZ, because I think we got to. I mean, I'm presuming going to talk about the AZ game, but
yeah, we are. Well, we'll talk about.
Right, I'll leave it till then. But
I don't go like football and then football. I'll break it up with the transfer stuff in a minute. Kev, Odebert, come from PSG Academy, went to Burnley when Vincent Kompany was there before he's manager now Bayern, isn't he? Raved about this kid. You seen anything that matches the hype in Odebert?
I think when he first started and before he got his injury, then everyone was raving about him because he's one who will take on his man, and he was doing it again against Bournemouth. He was taking the players on and committing them down that left wing. It was strange because when me and Tom got into our seats a little bit early, and we caught the end of the warm up sessions, where the three attackers were practicing what they never do in the match, and so taking it down the side and then playing it back across the middle of the field for the centre forward to hit in the goal. And he did it maybe one or two times, but then he didn't always. His final ball wasn't always there, but he was trying to commit the defenders, and that's what that's what we want our wingers to do, isn't it? And when Sonny was doing it as well in the second half. Take on those, give them a little bit of a hard time, and I think he's still recovering, coming back from that injury. I think he looks like he's got the legs to do it. To be honest with you, so I think it would probably be a mixture of him and Sonny doing that left wing job at the moment as we go through the rest of the season.
Ryan, your opinion on Odebert? You can have a son as well.
So Odebert's an interesting one because you're quite right in what you say, Kev. He actually gets to the byline, tries to put an end product across. It's strange because we play that way, but we don't have target men in the box. You only have really got Solanke, unless you're hitting it with far post, and Johnson happens to trot in. Show Pony at the back post and go, I got to flick this in. You want to see Madison making that break into the box or sitting at the edge waiting for it to be pulled back, or Bergvall coming onto it or Sarr coming onto it. And we just don't seem to do it. Even though you've got the overloads and creating the space, it's, as you say, it's weird when you watch it warming up.
I've got nothing against the wingers hugging the touch lines, but you want your fullbacks to invert. Well, I just think the wingers should invert because then they could give us an extra man, either the right or left-hand side of Solanke. And like you're saying, you should have an attacking midfielder charging forward to get to the box as well. Otherwise, you're asking a lot of a winger to put a pinpoint accurate cross onto one centre forward in the middle. There's just not enough bodies forward. So.
Exactly. I'm just looking here at Odebert's stats as well. He wasn't exactly a prolific goal scorer for Burnley either. He only got 4 and 30. So if you're going to have him on to take on men, give him an option to pass back to instead of trying to pass through 2 or 3 defenders. But as for Sonny, I think I mentioned it earlier, I'm not going to labour on the point, but I think definitely coming off the bench as an impact player or starting a game and coming off at half-time or 60 minutes. That's the way we've got to manage Son from now on. Question to the panel, maybe even a question to the chat as well. Would you give Sonny another year?
If you want to be really, really cynical, you'd say, well, yeah, because from a PR point of view, it's pretty. Yeah, I would. I mean, I think we're too quick to sort of write off players. I do agree with what you're saying that, as an impact player, we need to sort of manage him a bit more. But no, I think we'll give him another year. I actually think that Son will be in the club after he retires as some sort of ambassador or that sort of thing, because he is becoming, whether we like it or not, he is becoming one of the faces of the club. Yes. And if that means that we get a lot of support in South Korea, then so be it. It's not the first time that's happened. So I think Yeah, I'd give him the extra year, definitely.
I think maybe he could do with just like a rest, like chilling out, nice holiday or something. Because we let Perisic go, right? He had the injury, went to Croatia, and now he's playing in the Dutch league, and he's scoring goals in the Champions League at like 37, 38, right?
Yeah.
And even if you just have him as a guy you bring off the bench for like 20 minutes, sort of thing. Yeah, why would you let him go? I think you've maybe just got to give him another year, see how he can go. He's played a lot of football this season, so it's not overly surprising. His legs are a bit gone. And I think we probably just have to manage him a bit more. I mean, he's always looked after himself incredibly well, so I don't see why he couldn't play for another year.
It's a little bit of a fallacy, though, about Son's minutes, because Mo Salah's 6 months older and has played more minutes than Son this season. But yeah, it's still putting in world-class performances. I know that Son is like there, and Salah's a little bit of a level above him, but he's still producing it much better than Son. And it's just, do you think it's a confidence thing with Sonny? Because we've seen patches where he's gone through.
No, I think he suffered from that injury and had that operation, and I think he's carrying something still a little bit, and he's the best finisher with a left and right foot that we've got. So I mean, and who have we got that's that prolific and a striking? I mean, like they've Son, Solanke.
Oh come on! You have to give Richarlison a run of games, and he'll show us. I mean,
they've scored. I mean, like Johnson's got 14, Solanke's got 11, Son's got 10. What's that? 35 goals. And yet you look at that front three and you're like, you don't get off your seat, do you? You don't. Because Solanke will get goals, but you don't sort of look at him and think he's going to get his 20, do you? And like Johnson, all right, you keep him as an impact sub. You see if you can get a tune out of him and get more work out of him, don't you? But our forward line is like, it's clunky, isn't it? It is clunky.
I mean, it was only 3 seasons ago that Son was Golden Boot, ironically sharing with Mo Salah. So
17 goals.
Yeah, and if I could be wrong here, but I think the season before people were writing him off, or not so much writing him off, but saying, "Oh, he's not the same player," and yet he came back and was a Golden Boot. But
was that the season whenever he came off the bench and scored a hat trick against Leicester? Are you talking about?
No, I think that was the following season. I think. Yeah, I think it's. I don't know. No, you might be right. Yeah, you might be right.
He always looks better.
Yeah, you could be right there, Blaine. Yeah.
It's the same as our wingers. I mean, there used to be overloads with Porro and Decky on the right. That stopped now that Porro cuts in and Johnson's isolated. They don't get the overloads down there. On the left-hand side, when Son's looked good, you've had Maddison, like Kev alluded to, like drifting to the left, but you've had Udogie coming up when Udogie was in form, and then Sonny there on the left, and it's worked very well. And what we've seen in this poor run of form is our wingers are receiving a ball with their back to opposing defenders. So they've either got to slip them on the half turn and go, or pass the ball back. And what's frustrating is 9 times out of 10, the ball gets passed back. Yet when we played Ipswich away, Gray puts the through ball for Son to run onto. Bentancur puts the ball through for Son to run onto. That's where we're seeing him at his best. And like these are things. Look, there's 6 first-team coaches with that first team at Spurs, apart from Rob Birch, who's the goalkeeping coach. They should be sorting this out, right? They should be sorting this out.
So Sonny's always been best playing off the shoulder of the last man. That's even whenever Kane was at the club and whenever he first came here. He's not a winger that beats 3 men and scores a goal. All right, I know he had the push-cast goal that year against Burnley, of course. But, but again, that was him sprinting up the park. It wasn't him taking on men in close proximity and beating them for skill. He's pace, position, drop the shoulder, shot. And he needs to get back to that. He's been too many times too wasteful trying to hang on to it and beat 2 players. And
I think, I think. Jake, you were saying he needs a holiday. I've been saying that for a couple of seasons now, that just take 2 weeks off on a beach somewhere. Because you look at this guy. This guy plays until now played every game for Tottenham. Goes all halfway around the world with South Korea, and then where do we go for our pre-season tour? South Korea. So he's not going to get out of that. So this guy is a guy who's got a lot on his shoulder. And to be fair, I think he handles it incredibly well. He gets trained by his father, as well as doing his normal training at Tottenham. So he never really does relax. He hasn't, as far as I'm aware, got a partner. So he's on his own a lot of the time. So yeah, he just needs to just get away from it all for a bit.
I think another thing that will help him strip him of the captaincy over the summer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. I mean, with Son, it's virtually a ceremonial captaincy, isn't it? Really, it's I don't think the captaincy is that important a position.
Well, you can see him in his post-match interview the other day. You could tell he was feeling it mentally, not necessarily.
I no doubt he gets stressed out by it, and feels the not so much stressed out maybe, but feels the importance of it, that he feels it's important.
I mean, it's a bit of a cultural thing. I know in Korea, just how they view things is a little different. Things like that. It's a big responsibility. He probably feels it a lot more than say, I don't know, like Van der Ven would, right? That's a cultural thing, but also, I mean, it probably does affect him mentally. I mean, I remember reading an interview he did when his dad did, the son, and he said like, oh, he can't date anyone until he's done playing football. He can do that after football because he has to focus fully on football. And it's like, really? That can't be good.
So not only does he need a holiday, he needs to visit the red light district.
Never did George Destiny harm, did it?
He just needs a night out and he'll feel much better.
Right, guys, I want to move on a bit and talk about transfers and outgoings and incomings. The reason I want to talk about it is because it is complicated. I mean, I've made a list of outgoings here, right, which I'll bring up, right? Forster, Whiteman, Basuma, Werner, Richarlison, Gill, Velez loan, Davis contract, Romero. We don't know what's going to happen with Davis and Romero, but Ange was talking about a pathway for young players, and young Vuskovic, he got a 9 in his last game. I mean, every league he's stepped up in, he's doing brilliantly at Westerlo with Alfie Devine. Yeah. Echo come again from somewhere.
Yeah, I heard that again.
Yeah. So, your take on what one is your take on what's our most urgent position to fill? We might go for the second and third tip and get some agreement on that, because even if Romero were to leave, and then there aren't many clubs who can afford him anyway, only PSG, Real Madrid, or Barcelona, or someone like that, and if he wasn't to sign a contract with 2 years left in the summer, I don't think there are going to be that many great takers for him. And he might have not. And I'm not sure. He loves Ange. We know he loves Ange, right? Because he didn't like Conte, right? So I'm not sure he'd want to go. He's won the World Cup. He's won 2 Copa Americas. I mean, Lloris stayed with us all that time, didn't he? Probably because he was a World Cup winner. Otherwise, he'd probably have gone, right? I don't think Romero would go. And then when you see Madrid looking at Saliba and other centre backs a little bit younger than him, I'm not so sure the interest is there. But Brad, what's your most urgent position to fill? I'll give you mine when we come around to me last. But what do you think?
I think we need a goal scorer because we can't just leave it to Solanke.
So number 9.
Yeah, a number 9. But also because I think Richarlison, he's too much of a piece of glass, really. I think we've got to bite the bullet with him and sell him on. Velez, I totally forgot we even had Velez, so I don't really see the point of him at the moment. I think it's good to see Scarlett back. I think he might be decent to have in the squad, but I think we need a player. And we've also got to think, going back to the talk about Son, is that we've really got to start thinking about replacing Son as well. Whether you think Son is a winger or not, he's certainly a goal scorer. So, I think we need a goal scorer, definitely.
I see Scarlett play as a 17-year-old for the under-21s when he's going to watch games. And when you've got 22 players on the field and one player really stands out, it was this kid, right? And 17, he's 20 now, I think. Scores goals for England everywhere he goes. But because Lancashire scored 23 league goals for the under-21s and they're all conquering season last year, and over 30 with the cup goals, Oh, by the way, I think our under-18s are in a cup final, or under-17s. I forget one of them. They've got through the cup final again. Yeah, so I would like to see him when he's been on loan. Ipswich didn't play him; they got promoted last year. Got to Oxford, 4 goals in 20, I think it was, something like that. I like the kid. He's going to have a career. I don't know whether it'll be at Spurs or not, because you can't find a place for everyone. But then I also want to see Lancashire given a run as well. So you know, I mean, we think about transfers, but when we bring in players in, we also got to think of pathway for the younger players. I want Donnelly in that squad as well as Mikey Moore. Mikey Moore's in it. Like, let's not kid ourselves. He signed that contract 17 in August. He signed the 2-year. You're only allowed the 2-year scholarship with a year's professional contract. And I don't know if you can. I hope they can. When he's into his first year of his scholarship, I hope they then can extend that contract. You know, because with that last year only a 1-year professional, that's why we end up nicking players off other clubs, and they end up nicking players off of us. You know.
Well, the rumor is, Adrian, that he doesn't want to sign a contract. He's really unhappy behind the scenes.
Is Mikey Moore?
Yeah.
But he's just signed the 3-year contract in August.
Yeah, but he's not getting the game time that he was promised. He's not being introduced.
Yeah, I've heard all that, but he's 17, right? You got so much time when you're a 17-year-old. What's the rush? Dylan Marcandy did that. He didn't even go out on loan for the under-21s. A cracking young player, Asian kid. He went to Blackburn. I think he did his cruise ship. Then went to Scotland. I don't know where he is now. I'd need more proof for this rumour. If it's just a rumour, that I don't believe it personally.
I would say it's just it's going around the aggregators at the minute, whether there's truth in it or not. I'll tell you, the man who knows Johnny. Don't know if anybody can speak to Johnny and find out.
Well, I think he seemed pretty thrilled when he scored against Elfsborg, didn't he? I mean, that was a.
He alluded to it like you did when he was on the show the other day, Sunday. Yeah, on Sunday's show, he alluded to that. But I think some of the people that lean far one way or another, I think they just want to throw extra into the pot, into the toxic pot. But it's like today we heard about, like the Romero story about injuries and all that. Well, and getting Argentine physiotherapists and all that. Well, I can understand that, but the same instance, didn't we just sack our medical team and put ads in the paper for medical staff or something?
We did. I find it quite funny with social media that everyone has been going about, the medical staff, they're absolutely rubbish, look at all the injuries. And then as soon as Ramiro goes elsewhere, he's not showing any loyalty at Tottenham, he's gone elsewhere. It's like, you can't win, can you?
See to put that one to bed, because I've done some research when I was speaking in the chat that we have earlier on, right? And Jack, this is not a one-season problem on the injury front, guys. See, if you look back over the last 10 years, we have had an average of 7 players missing at any one time. This is nothing new with the medical staff. And I'm a very, very much a staunch Ange. Where I will give him sympathy is it is not Ange's responsibility to get those players ready and prepared back from injury and to make sure they are clear to play.
Yeah, because he's only going to go on the advice that he gets, isn't he, really?
Correct. And if our medical team are not up to it, that's a Levy problem. You need to go and recruit the right people and make sure that our medical centre is at the top-notch end. I mean, bloody hell, we're renting a cryo chamber and he's putting up fucking season ticket prices. Come on.
I do think like in the Europa League, the Premier League should go to 12 subs, if not more, right, on match days. And I do think actually the amount of substitutes you're allowed to use 5 substitutes. 2 concussion subs. Knowing Spurs will get 3 concussion subs in the game because that's the way things go with their club, right? But you're allowed 2, so that's 7. But I noticed that when Poch was at Southampton and they played the high press game, but they didn't have a squad like wealthier clubs had in the league. And they fell away after Christmas because they started picking up injuries. And then when it comes to Spurs, we're all right. We had the youngest team in the league. We're all right for 2 or 3 seasons. Then Kane and Son and that started picking up these injuries on the high press and all that. Then you look at Klopp at Liverpool. Like, not initially, they start off, they lose a couple of finals, don't they? And then they win something. A couple of seasons are okay. Then they started picking up all these injuries through the high press. Now you look what's happened at Man City. It certainly seems to be something in it. I mean, our injuries are strange, actually, because I think we only had about 4 hamstring injuries out of them. You've had Vicaro's ankle, Romero's quad, thigh. There was other injuries that weren't hamstring, and like we haven't really been playing, that much of a high press to pick up them. And then you'd wonder why Johnson ain't got a hamstring injury or someone else like that, So I think there's
Just
something in it.
Coming back to your banner, so where do I think that we need reinforcement? Midfield. That has to be a priority.
Yeah, we do get overrun too much, don't we? We don't control it anymore.
You're talking about one holding midfielder because you've got to find room for Gray.
You do, but so if this is where it's hard to judge, Adrian, because if Ange is there, Ange doesn't play a 6. He hasn't. You look back at his career, he doesn't like a 6. He doesn't like a deep line holding midfielder. So that wouldn't be where we would focus. We'd probably go for an 8, classic box-to-box midfielder, right? But if it's somebody else, I think we need a big monster 6.
You got. I'll give you the list of. Don't laugh at this list, guys. And I haven't even checked today to see if there's any more. Right? We've been linked with these. Right? It's only 23 here. Right? Eze, Walton, Way, Fratesi. I wouldn't mind him as your 6. Gomez, and he's aggressive. Gomez, he's on a 3. Semenyo, played well. Bellingham, Joe Bellingham at Sunderland. Gillette at Ipswich, Kuna. Johnny Cardoso has played well recently. I still think Fratese's a better player. Lukeman. Ratu's a Romanian left back, played well in the Euros. He's 26, 27. Gittins. The ones that are costing 18 million, we ain't going for, right? Sesko, Paz, midfield. Larson, I think he was the one who scored that 20, 30-yarder in the Euros outside the box. Tyler Diblin, do we really need another young player? I mean, he's a good kid, played well against Southampton. Harwood Bellis, he's a full centre-back at Southampton, done well. Samu, I forget. Who's Samu, guys? Remember? Omarodian, I know he's a 6'4" striker, but he's only 20, he plays for Paul. Sulk, midfielder. Sirkin at Sunderland. Henko I like, but maybe the centre-backs, we've got Vuskovic, Dorrington and Phillips. Are we going to have a pathway for these?
Pretty well for the centre-back.
Even if Romero went and everyone's fit, you've got Dragerson, right? You've got PDV, you've got Danso, and you've got Gray. Am I missing someone else out?
You've got Phillips coming back off loan.
Yeah, so and that's without the 3 kids, and I think Vuskovic goes straight into that squad in the summer. So I'm not sure we're interested. All this talk about Guay, 60, 70 million and all that. One of the other bigger clubs will take him anyway. Like he's got more money than us. But
so there's a question: Do you think we keep a hold of Dragonson?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I know he's dropped off. Started promising, dropped off. I think his passing is what has let him down, really. But in the air, and that very good in the air, and he's not slow. And all right, with centre backs, you're looking for positional play, can be better, but we've conceded so many goals this season in the penalty area that we've had loads of bodies in.
Do you think he's just fallen victim to playing on that side with Porro, where he's exposed so much?
There's that, and the fact that we've been crap at the back. We've let in so many goals. We've been rubbish at the back. Half these goals were preventable. We give far too much space.
I think now the time has come to go for quality over quantity. Because I think our squad, when they're all fit, it's not a bad squad. It's not a title-winning squad. It's not a bad squad, and we just need to add some quality to it now. We've got the quantity now, I think. There are a couple of positions that we probably do need a bit more cover, but we need to add some quality players. And Bergvall and Gray, I think, going to be players in the future. but you need some really classy players to go alongside them to sort of take them through it. And I think
Adrian,
that-
just my last
We
thing. and I'm
sort
just
of
gonna-
agreed we need a number 9, even though we've got Scarlett and Lancashire. We've still got time on their side because they're young, right? And perhaps we'll sell Velez or whatever, or he goes out on loan again if we don't sell him.
It's
And with
interesting.
Cardoso, he's played that well recently. We can get him for 21 mil. Well, I'd prefer Fratesi to Cardoso. But you could virtually, because we did that deal with Lo Celso to get him for 25 million, 21 mil, you could virtually buy Cardoso tomorrow and sell him on for more money straight away. Because that's the interest in him.
This is the problem.
Typical Levy deal.
Yeah. Well, this is the problem. This is why Tottenham are not a winning club, because we don't have this winning mentality. If you saw the Jim Ratcliffe of Man United guy was saying that their intentions is to win the title by 2028. So they are thinking of winning titles. I can't remember. Maybe Pochettino was one that had this attitude, and I think to a certain degree, Postecoglou's got it. We've never talked about winning titles. We've always talked about we've got to get top four, and win a cup. And this is the winning mentality that this club lacks. And I think when we talk about Gomez, a good decent player, played pretty well for England, he's available on a free. That's winning clubs don't do that. We're buying because he's free, over this certain player. So I'm getting really fed up with this. We've got all this income. We must have the funds to do it and pay the wages. And as I said, you can probably afford to do that if you bring in quality rather than quantity. If you spend 100 million on 2 players rather than 4 players.
Yes, I agree. I mean, and the fact is, when you've got a 25-man squad, you've got 2 players in each position gives you 22, right? The extra goalkeeper's 23. So you can overload with 2 extra players. And because the game's so fast in midfield, I'd rather we had the extra midfielders. So then if instead of we could go with like 7-8 midfielders quite easily. For a season 4 fronts, you need them.
I mean, I said earlier about getting a striker, but I think the midfielder again is a priority, another priority, because, and I was having this chat at work today, we need a player in our midfield. We need the Steven Gerrard, Roy Keane, or Dave Mackay, if you go back even further. That sort of player that can take the game by the scruff of the neck when we're not doing well and say, right, come on, let's do something. We don't seem to have those players. Bergvall is a very, very talented player, but I can't see him doing that sort of role. Gray is a very, very talented player, but I can't see him doing that sort of role. I can't see any of our midfielders doing that sort of a role where they just get the team by the bootlaces and go for it.
We haven't had that. I know he's not the same type of player.
If it was Cardoso or Fratesi, I know we can get Cardoso on the cheap. Unless you just want to bring in and sell him on and make some money. But he would do a job there. Definitely. He's brave. He's box to box. He's stuck in, right? But to me, Fratesi at Milan, he came from Sassuolo. They paid good money for him. And like Italian international, 26, 27. And I just think, go and watch a video of him on YouTube, guys. He is aggressive. He is like Bergvall on steroids, basically. And he's better. No, he is. I mean, not Bergvall on steroids. I was going to say Højbjerg on steroids. Sorry.
Adrian, just switching gears a little bit, and you touched on this earlier on. We do have a problem with academy trained players. If looks like Southampton are going to go down, would you go and take Kyle Walker-Peters back to the club?
No,
as cover, but he does solve a problem, and we do need to solve it.
Yeah, it's a bit like saying keeping Davis as well. You don't progress, do you?
I just, I know it's about going back to being that winning mentality. I think we need to get to a stage where, I know it's easier said than done, where we say, right, who are the players that are going to make us a team that wins stuff, and not he'll do a job.
No. I get what you're saying about doing a job, etc. That's not the mentality I'm thinking of. But we physically have a problem where we need to have an academy trained player in the squad next season.
Yeah.
So, do you promote somebody from the academy?
Yeah. Well, if you can do that, can't you? I mean, if you've got, say, Romero went, and I want to stay because I think he's our best defender, and everyone under the sun and half the fan base they don't like him. They prefer VDV, right? But as the better defender, that's fair enough. That's their opinions, and I respect them, right? But if you just had VDV, Dragerson, and Danso, right, you can bring Vuskovic in, can't you? You can bring him in. You could bring Phillips or Dorrington in. Dorrington's a bit better on the ball. They're all units, all three of them. Phillips and Vuskovic are like 6'4", and I mean Dorrington's 6'3", you know, and like they're all units. So I would definitely bring Vuskovic in, definitely. But that's just my opinion.
Does he count as academy trained though, Adrian?
No.
So again, you've still got the same problem.
Yeah, but then if you're going to bring players in to make the numbers up of academy trained, say in the Europa League, so you're not penalised to 23. Surely 23 players is enough to get you through the Europa League, right?
I don't know. It wasn't enough this season.
Or you bring two. We could have kept Niall John till he went, right? He left. We could have kept him and he would have counted, right? But
yeah.
All he would have gone is made up the numbers and sat on the bench. He isn't then including you another good player, another quality player, if the manager don't want him. If Ange
by the way, sorry to interrupt you. Liverpool have just been knocked down in penalties, by the way.
Ooh.
Have they?
They missed 2 out of 3 penalties, Liverpool.
Yeah.
They've been knocked out, and they've got Newcastle in a cup final.
My manager's a massive Liverpool fan. We never hear the end of it, and I go into the office on Friday. Apart from this Friday, that's it. I'm not. Would you believe it? Oh dear.
So I think. I mean, I would like to see. I mean, I said it last season. I mean, before the summer, we didn't do enough work. Obviously, not enough on other ready players. I wanted a left back and Eze. I wanted Dorgu and Eze. The two I wanted. There was someone else I picked. I forget who at the time. And if we weren't, and at the back, I was looking at David Henko because he can play. He's left centre back at final. He can play left back as well. And we're rumoured to be interested in him. But I think depending on how much money we've got, and then we don't know how much we'll get for Richarlison and Basuma as well. So I'm thinking if we go for 3 quality players, if we get the money for Basuma and what's name, like Brad said, then I think we could have about 150 mil to spend.
Well, funny you should say
and
that.
Then, go on.
Well, just before you go on, what could happen is if we do get taken over by the Qataris, then we'll do what Chelsea did. Sell all their players to teams in the Saudi League and get loads and loads of money for them.
Richarlison away for 100 million, no problem.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so
I don't see the.
Sorry, go on, Adrian. Sorry.
No, I don't see the style of club, and it's not. I still think we need a left back. I know Spence can play there.
Agreed.
But we know Gray can do a job there, and Jay can do it at the right as well. So can Spence. So they can double up anyway. But I think we still need a left back. Because we don't know Spence is really going to end up on the left. We know we can play there. Number 9 and like a 6. And if we got 3 quality players in those positions, nobody else is going on about a right winger. But it's a question of like, well, you've got Moore can play on the right and left, right? You've got Odebert can play on the right and left. Son plays mainly on the left.
You've Yang Min Hook to come back across.
He's doing okay at QPR.
What do you call a guy at Leeds?
He will take players on. He is fast.
What do you call a guy in Leeds we've got for free? I can't remember his name. Solomon. He to come back off loan.
Yeah, if Ange don't fancy him, might sell him for 15 mil and he cost us nothing. So that could be more money for transfer. So we could, in theory, go and get. I mean, unless a right winger, we'd have to get some stuff.
I'd go for a number 9. If we're going for a number 9,
we can cover everything.
The
priorities really should be a number 9, a midfielder, and I think a left back more than the right back. Even though this Ratu here, the Romanian guy, had a good Euros and's doing well, and clubs are looking at him now, but. A number 9. See, I don't want to block the path of Gray, so my thinking is like, say, a Fratesi could play with Gray, you know, or they could. Because these players are not going to play every game, are they? You know, so you've got to have a squad. You know, people get trapped in like, a first 11. Well, it isn't. It's got to be like the first 18. You know.
Then we've also got to think worst case scenario, we get knocked out in Europa. We've no European football. You've only got the league and the cups. So do we need a 25-man squad?
Well, this is the other thing. I mean, that's a good point, Blaine, because if we don't get in Europe, who wants to come to us? No European football.
Well, we
Who wants
could.
to
I mean,
come?
conference league goes down to about 9th, doesn't 9th or 10th?
Well, in theory, if teams all did well, we get the coefficient for the 5th spot in the Champions League. But
Well,
depending on who
Liverpool
wins,
being knocked out is not going to help that.
it could actually go to 7 in the Champions League, but that's unlikely. Then you've got Europa League places 8, 9. Europa League places could go down to about 10.
I mean, we all, that's what annoyed
that?
me when we played in the Conference League was the fact that we'd won the inaugural season of the UEFA Cup. It used to be the Fairs Cup, then it became the UEFA Cup. We won it, and I thought, well, why not win the Conference League? And we just poo-pooed the whole tournament, and yet we saw how West Ham celebrated when they won it, and you probably put your money on Chelsea walking it this season as well. So let's not poo-poo the Conference League if we can have a chance of getting in it.
All right, we'll finish with a preview as Alkmaar at home. But before we do that, I want to thank you. We've got 76 watching us at the moment, which is absolutely fantastic on a Tuesday, a football day. 73 now. And so I want to thank all you viewers from wherever you are. I want to thank everyone for their comments as well. Always put the comments in. We will try to come through and answer all your questions. I'll go through them now because I missed a few. Then we do a quick review of Soul Bentacore Biz by Walton. Yeah, I've heard. I like the look of Walton, but we need a dog of war more than we do a ball player. Right. No, the only against Vasquez is pace. Is a bit suspect, according to reports. But he's got 7 goals in 20 games or something. Liverpool out.
Was that a typo for Andrew saying Liverpool? No, I kid, Peter.
I will laugh. I won't laugh too much.
This is the thing that gets me, as Brad's alluded to, all the arts and that. I know where you're coming from, but that's the problem with our club. We talk about backups. We're Tottenham Hotspur. We shouldn't be talking about backups.
No, it should be rotation in the same position.
It's over 2 seasons ago, and people picked up on it. Yeah, right. Okay. I'll go through these and then we'll. Daniel, sorry, back to Daniel. Yeah. Yeah. You never know with player psychology, do you? They got a cup final Sunday. All right, they want to go this, they want to go that. You never know with players. Of course, we all want Newcastle to win. Goes without saying.
Well, then when I go back to the office on Tuesday, if Newcastle do win, that can be 2 things to talk about.
You might get the sack, Brad. Right. Biggest game. Oh, I spelt this wrong. Right. I'll hide it. Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Agent Omar.
Yeah. It shouldn't be that, should it? I don't know what I've done there. Yeah.
It's actually AZ, isn't it? Because the Alkmaar is actually the A in the name, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's Alkmaar.
Yeah.
That's right.
You seem to have a problem with R's there, Adrian.
Yeah, 2 R's, yeah.
Well, there was an R missing in preview.
Oh, was there? Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. Never mind. I just deleted that. Right, okay. You're right. Right, so I don't think I've missed anyone out of the squad. I might have missed some because I think there's 23. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Well, Cooley's injured until the end of the season, so we can strike him out.
Is that official or just another rumour? Because
it looks that way. I mean, it's going to be like late April by the sounds of things at the very best.
I've seen it on Twitter, I think it was, or X, or
so.
Whatever you want to call it.
Right. And then we'll go through this, then we'll go for everyone's score predictions. And then, like, those of you in the chat, give us your score predictions as well for Thursday. Vicario, Kingsker, Austin, guys. It's got to be Vicario, isn't it?
Well, Kingsker, yeah.
Fullbacks, well, Davies should be fit as well, but I don't think you're going to see him at fullback anymore.
I think you're going to
I think
see
it'd be Spencer Porro at
Spence.
fullbacks.
Yeah,
I think.
not
I
even
think
Spencer
yeah.
maybe.
I think it'll be Spence and Porro.
Mm. I mean, the centre backs. We can't really select centre backs because we don't really know how fit the guys are. But I think it'll be between the 3 or 4. I don't think. I think it'll be Danso, Romero, VDV. I think they'll be the 3.
I think on the fullbacks, I think your doggy's going to get game time because he hasn't. He's virtually rested.
Mm.
There might be something in there. Kev, what do you think?
I think Danzo and VDV will start as centre backs. I think.
Yeah.
I know he started Romero and Danzo on this Saturday, but the way they played together, I think at the end of the Bournemouth game, I think starting them might be, and it's a better fit, isn't it? Because left footer, right footer, than Danzo Romero, and it means that Danzo can play on his preferred side.
And also, I think, and we'll go score predictions in a minute, but I think you've got to go with your strongest 11. Even but rather than say, "Oh, Van der Ven, he's not going to last the whole game. We bring him to the second half." No, play him in the first half if that's the case. We got to go with our strongest 11 because I think, my personal opinion is, I think we need to win this game by half time. We need to be 2 goals, 3 goals up by half time. Because if we're not, the crowd
I'm going different here, but I'll go last.
Crowd are going to get nervous.
We just stay on the centre backs for a moment, yeah. We'll stay on the centre backs. James and Blaine, you centre backs for you.
Danso and VDV.
Yeah, I'd probably go with the same too. Sorry,
I'm not.
You going Gray?
No, I'm going to go Romero and VDV because I want Romero to progress us up the field, and I think we're missing that. Danso made that have in his locker. We haven't seen it yet. He gets forward, but he progresses. He's our quarterback at the back. So I'd go, but it doesn't matter. I mean, because you never know. It's hard to second guess Ange at times. All right, okay, we're a little bit different there, but no big deal, is it? Midfield then. So this means now you might be up Gray, Sarr, Basuma, Bergvall, Madison, Kulusevski if he's fit.
Can I maybe kick us off there?
Go on, kick this off.
I'll put one to the panel. I think we obviously got to score goals to win this. And yes, I did win Mastermind, specialist subject stating the bleeding obvious. But we need to score goals in this. And I think the best way we've got of doing that is to be really attacking. And I would like to see Gray at the 6, if you want to call it a 6, and Bergvall and Madison as our midfield 3. I know that's a very attacking midfield, but that's what I want to see in that first half because I really do think we need to get this game done and dusted by half time.
So the only change I go for that to make it even more attacking with the box to box and the running is Sarr instead of Gray.
Yeah, that's another option, definitely.
And that's my midfield 3: Bergvall, Sarr, and Matters.
Yep.
Kev?
Yeah, I think the only problem with starting Gray in the midfield is he hasn't had a lot of game time at the moment. Gray, as he in midfield, so he might be one to come on. And but either of those two combinations of 3, I'll be happy with. I think at the start of the game.
Yeah, I think Sarr played well. Unsung hero. I'm starting Sarr.
So Basuma starts then, obviously.
I'm starting Sarr.
So we can get the halftime orange.
Yeah, you can't leave Bergvall out. At Madison, you need the creativity at home, and we'll be pressing them like mad. So, and it will suit Madison because I don't see them coming at us.
No,
right? They'll take the opportunities to get forward like most teams do when they get a free kick or if they do get up there and get a corner and throw bodies forward. But apart from that, I think they're going to hang on to that 1-0 lead. Forward line, guys. Anyone? We don't know if Kulu's fit. If he's fit, I'm playing him. But I mean, we've got Son, Odegaard, Tell, Scarlett, Solanke, Johnson, and Mikey Moore.
Well, he did leave Son and we left Son and Tell, didn't he?
Tell didn't even get a minute, did he?
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, and to be fair, Ali Gold mentioned this as well, so it's not only coming from me. maybe he might go with Tell and Son on the right and left wing, respectively, and Solanke up top.
You picked my front three.
Well, again, it's not really mine. I watched the golf yesterday and he mentioned it. So
yeah, because like he's going to have options on the bench. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If Kulu's half fit, he'll be on the bench. That's for sure, right? And so you can always bring Moore on. You know, you can always bring Odegaard on. They're good.
I certainly wouldn't argue with Moore starting. I certainly wouldn't argue if Moore started, or even Odegaard for that matter.
Yeah, I think it's having all the options on the bench is going to be the thing. If we haven't, as Brad's saying, if we haven't won it by half time, we're going to need to throw players on, aren't we? But
well, the beauty of it is, if half time's not quite longer, then you're bringing players on with pace against a tiring AZ Albert team. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
On Kulusevski, Adrian, he's not expected to return until at least after the international window.
Fine. That's okay. Yeah. He could do with the rest, to be honest, couldn't he? He's played 40 odd games, I think. I think him and Porro have played the most, haven't they?
That's
right. Score predictions, guys, and in the chat, please, and we'll call you out. Give us your score predictions in the chat.
Oh God.
Oh, want me to go first? I'm going 3-0. Right, okay. Blaine? That's the Spurs.
I always have to think with my heart over my head. I'm going to go for 3-1.
3-1. Kev, you're going, I suppose.
3-1 was in my head as well. I can see us conceding one.
I don't want extra time or penalties, otherwise I'll never get home on Thursday night. So, yeah, I made the. I mean, look, I want to win. I want to be 3 up at half time and win the game 5-0. I just want to totally obliterate them and not have to worry about them coming back at all. But my prediction is that we'll scrape through. So yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I can see it being a rather nervy game, but I think we'll get through. We win, say 2-0 maybe, or 3-1.
Right. We're going for nap, James. We're going for a nap.
I'm tired. I've been awake quite a long time. I feel like it's going to be an extra time game. I think it'll be 1-0 at the end of the 90, right? And then I think we'll score 2 in extra time. And it'll look really comfortable in extra time. As soon as we get that second goal, it'll be really comfortable. But it's going to be awful for like 70 or 80 minutes. It's going to be awful.
I'll tell you what, 6-1 and Troy Parr can score a consolation just so we can all applaud him. How about that?
In front of the South Stand, and we all applaud him.
Yeah.
Kev, did you say you're going?
Sorry,
Kev?
I mean, I'm not going to be at the game.
Oh, right.
I'm not going to be at the game on Thursday. It's probably only about the second game.
Last
second
question
game
before we wrap up then. Blaine, how important do you think the crowd are going to be Thursday?
So they're going to, if we go in 0-0 at halftime or 1-0 down, game's over. Because the crowd, you could see, you were there on Sunday.
Yeah.
The boos at halftime, the crowd's starting to turn. They're starting to get on the back of players, which by the way, I get, but I don't like, because you should support your team no matter what. Right?
Yeah,
you can't get on the back of players.
Yeah, I wasn't happy with the booing at half time.
We need to be the 12th man from the first second. It's as simple as that.
Again, that's why this first half, get the crowd involved, the players. If we get a goal in the first 10 minutes, White Harleyan's going to be rocking. Yeah.
Play that audio 4-1. I'm trying to see if there's any more. I don't think anyone else is there. They must be all lying on their sofas because they're not putting their scores in.
There's a 2-0 in there as well.
I don't think it looks very good for Ange if we get knocked out.
Did I miss the 3-0? Probably.
Yeah, I think it's over.
Do you think if Ange loses, gets us knocked out, do you think he's in charge for Fulham?
Yeah,
I don't think he will be. Actually, I don't think he will be. I think the board so far have kept keeping their nerve. With keeping him, which I didn't want him sacked until let's see how we go for the rest of the season. He's used we've had the injury problem, so let's see if that actually is the reason, and he won't know until the end of the season. but I just got a
I
feeling.
am loving your scoreline, 5-0.
I just got a
Loving
feeling.
4-1 and 5. We'll have to get these guys on the panel.
Yeah, I just got the feeling that I think the board will eventually crack if we lose. And I'm not saying I agree that he should be sacked if we lose, because I think the summer will be the time for doing that.
Yeah.
So there was an interesting rumor on another channel earlier, guys, that apparently Ange Postecoglou has a break clause in his contract if we don't qualify for Europe.
Oh, really?
So there's a lot of people now saying he may be given till the end of the season, and then as Levy does the break clause, see you later, doesn't have to pay
And
him.
he walks away with 10 mil then because he's got.
No, he doesn't have to pay him if it's a break clause if he doesn't qualify.
I really hoped it
I
would.
don't think he
succeed,
needs the
Ange.
money though. Do you?
Really did.
26 years in
No.
football.
Oh no, I don't think money's going to be any sort of problem
I
or on
think
his
it's more
mind.
pride with managers now
Yeah.
because they're made for life, like football.
I know he's taken a lot of criticism, and I agree with some of the criticism. I don't agree with some of the other criticism, but I just think it's been a breath of fresh air for football in general, and that's why I think I lived in Australia for 20 odd years or 30 odd years, and yeah, I get him. I get what he's about. He's just very, very Australian. I get how he is, but people seem to take offence at it, and you know, it's just so sad. So I would really like to see him succeed. I really would.
Right. Where are we? Because we're nearly done. Oh yeah, here we go. These are the fixtures. We've got Alkmaar. Our show goes out Friday at 10 o'clock UK time for the 81 of you viewers that are watching, because we like to cater for the Canadian and USA supporters as they get up all hours to watch Spurs play in their respective countries, Aussies as well, and everyone else in all time zones. So the show on Friday goes out at 10 o'clock. The show on Sundays, like now, goes out at 9 o'clock UK time. So we broadcast Tuesdays, Fridays and Sundays. Friday's show will be actually post-match Alkmaar, preview of Fulham. So, and any other Spurs news that comes up in between. Yeah.
Try to get tickets for Fulham, but unsuccessful.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't see Ange getting sacked. I don't see Levy having all the pressure on himself. If he's going to get rid of him, he's going to do it the cowardly way in the summer when the season's over and there's no chance of any protest or big backlash. I don't see the board putting themselves under pressure. If Europe's gone, it's gone. What do you achieve? Also, I don't see what we achieved by sacking him anyway, because there's no ready-made replacement.
Well, that's the thing. That's the whole problem. Whether you agree with Ange in or Ange out, who's going to replace him?
Right.
I must admit, I do go. It does annoy me slightly where they go on about the Bournemouth manager. Wow, brilliant! Oh, look at what Nuno's doing at Forest. Oh, but I'm sorry, I don't. Despite we've had no success, managing Tottenham is a much bigger gig than managing Bournemouth or Nottingham Forest, because there's no pressure on the managers there. They don't have to win things.
Look, as much as I appreciate Areola as well, he's trying to build his own project at Bournemouth. Bloody hell, he could get them into Europe. Yeah. Why would he want to leave that to come to us?
Exactly, and you know what happened? If he came to Tottenham, then we'd found it'd be get him out, and we find the next manager of the month, or flavour of the month to manager. So yeah, it does seem a bit pointless in firing him, Ange now. I don't see any ready-made replacements, I must admit.
Like, if we let him go, it's going to be Mason in charge again until the end of the season.
Well, that's the other thing, isn't it? Poor old Ryan Mason. I mean, he could become a really decent coach. I just wish he could find a club to go to, and we don't just, it's just not him being caretaker manager every 2 seasons.
Oh, there are clubs that have been sniffing around him, though.
Yeah.
I mean, and I see him actually going to a lower league club. I don't know what league or whatever. I mean, he nearly ended up.
I just remembered what I saw tonight. Did anyone see and again, it's only a rumour. It's only a rumour that Lange will be on his way at the end of the season.
Yes, I did see that.
Yeah. That was over the Tell fiasco. They reckon getting him signed and Levy had to crack the deal or something. So
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I mean,
when's Paratici's ban up? Was it?
Well, this is the other thing. He's July this year. So yeah.
Whether the club will take him back on officially, Paratici. I mean, I know he gets on well with Levy, but You know how they like everything sanitised at Tottenham, don't they? So he might just remain in some sort of consultancy capacity, which he's doing now anyway. He's probably even trying to get Simeone Inzaghi at Spurs next year. At present, that's another rumour. And he's won things, Inzaghi, right? So
Yeah, but he's defensive, isn't he? Is he? Oh, I know Simone is, but isn't
Inzaghi is a little bit of he's a bit less attacking minded than Ange would be, but he's still very, front foot football.
Look, if Ange goes, I mean, because my DNA is original Spurs DNA, I want an astute, tactical-minded manager who plays attractive football, who gives youngsters a chance. Well, my fear of if we make a change is like, are these young players going to be given a chance? Is there a pathway?
I think the other issue with potentially sacking Ange is he hasn't lost the dressing room. The players are all very obviously still very keen for it to work under Ange. And if you sack a manager who the players like, that could seriously upset some of them. And if you don't bring in someone who has, I want to say, like a bit of aura, a big name, or someone who they instantly connect with, that could cause issues of maybe players wanting to leave, or maybe just morale going down the drain. I mean, I like Thomas Frank, but would he work at Spurs? If you know what I mean? I don't know. And there isn't anyone out there that you go, yes, they are massive. Like when Pochettino went, Mourinho was announced like 12 hours later. He was in, and everyone knew Mourinho was still quite well regarded then. So I think that soothed a lot of the players' annoyance at Pochettino going. And I think you have
change though, James. I mean, you got players. They say players behind Ange. I'm thinking, well, of course they're going to be behind Ange. They've still got a chance of silverware. If you were to go out of the Europa League, that'd be different. But why players have got a chance of winning something at a club? They could have a manager they hate. But if they think I'm going to win an FA Cup, a League Cup, or whatever, they're going to be on board because you've got a chance of winning that trophy. So if things change afterwards, we said all that. There was a bit where Maddison and Sonny were sitting together or something on a bench, and like Maddison saying, "Oh, look, the same thing," or something to him. And people trying to lip read. Everyone's trying to lip read and try and get everything to make a story.
Yeah, but they might be talking about a sequel to a film.
Listen,
you see the signs? I was like, yeah, same thing.
See if we don't have something to moan about as Spurs fans. Are we ever really happy? Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
And Adrian, to your point, you want a manager that's going to play youth, attacking football, and solid at the back. There's only one man for the job. That's bloody Harry Redknapp. Bring him back. Come on.
No, Pochettino.
I think under different owners, Pochettino, I'd love to see back. Yeah,
but I think that's 20 after the World Cup.
Yeah.
You might see that resurface.
Yeah, and look, we know. Look, the one thing we do know, because we think during this Lange period, the 18 months, something like 33 players have changed, either been sold, some are out on loan now, or whatever. It's been changed, right? Whoever follows Ange is going to inherit a good squad for a change, which isn't going to need as much surgery as has happened. I still think we need about 5 players. I just don't see us doing it in the summer unless we do sell the ones we can and get some decent money for like Romero, Basuma, and Gil goes and like Velez goes out the window and Solomon gets sold. Then suddenly you're looking at a pretty good substantial transfer fund. Then we could go for that, but
what Levy needs.
I want a pathway for the youngsters as well. I want Donnelly and Vuskovic to come in so we can save money and give. But then managers are risk averse. Most of them, they think more of their jobs than they do of the club they're managing. So
that's the problem. We don't have a problem spending transfer budget. It's the wages. I want to see us at least take a little bit more of a risk. Move up to 55-60% wages ratio.
The stadium has been a game changer, not in footballer success and silverware, but in money. You can't compare the amount of money we spent at this stadium to the old Spurs. Those that hark back to the old days, and I loved it at the old stadium. See us win trophies there, right? So to UEFA Cups and it. But we spent something like 1.2 billion on players. We brought in something like 29 players for 685 million before Ange even come to this club. Now we know most of them were crap, right? So, but we have failed better in the transfer market. When you look at the players we've got in, Sarr come in, Velez VDV, Romero. You know, we got
Just
Tulu and
actually on a
Bentancur.
tangent on the stadium, guys. I want your reaction to this. What do you think of Man United's new circus tent that's been posted out today?
Yeah, I saw the advert for it. Yeah, it's Manchester's not exactly the Middle East, is it? So,
No.
Blaine, I didn't see. I was hoping to see another water feature off the roof on the new design.
When I saw
Flames,
it,
you know, they got their water feature. I mean,
when I first saw it on Twitter this morning when I was in bed, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was a parody. I didn't think it was real, which kind of says it all, doesn't it? It's
trying to get the tax
ridiculous.
back, a lot of money for that, though. I mean, look, that's a 5-year project, right? This ain't happening anytime soon.
Jim Ratcliffe doesn't pay his tax, does he? He lives in bloody Bahamas or wherever.
But then neither did Joe Lewis.
Right.
Yeah.
We've been going for over 2 hours. I was trying
Yeah.
to keep it down to 2 hours, hour and 3/4, right? It's been a fantastic show. I mean, I want to thank all my guests. You know who you are. There's 81 viewing us at the moment, which is really terrific at this time. You must be in a more time-friendly zones, I reckon, to be with us now. Or coming on late. So thank you to all you viewers. I want to thank everyone in the chat for your comments. And like I've said before, if you like the content of these shows, we're a pretty chill show here at Spurs Diehards TTID. Give the content a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and spread the word, guys. Spread the word if you like us. You know, we're out every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. You know, Tuesdays and Sundays at 9 o'clock UK GMT, and Fridays 10 o'clock, an hour later. Okay, so thank you all. I'll see you in the back room, and I will play you out with this.